2026, the Strait of Hormuz is closed, oil prices are exploding, and diplomacy has failed. So today, we're handing the keys to cinema's most ruthless strategist to solve this crisis in under 24 hours. Coming in at number 10 is Wall Street's Gordon Gekko. Gekko would not view the paralyzed supply chains and canceled insurance premiums as a global tragedy. He would see them as the ultimate distressed asset. With roughly 10% of the global container fleet caught in a bottleneck, Gekko would instantly mobilize massive capital to execute hostile takeovers of the region's most desperate shipping companies. By leveraging his new monopoly, he would essentially buy out the blockade, proving that greed is still good when it forces a shipping lane open. Right behind him at number 9 is Jared Vennett from The Big Short. While everyone else is focused on the physical tankers, Vennett would recognize that the crisis is fundamentally a massive insurance and derivatives bubble. He would short the global supply chain, make billions of dollars overnight as the markets panicked, and then use that immense financial leverage to essentially bribe the conflicting nations into a peace treaty, proving that raw capital speaks louder than artillery. At number 8, we bring in Danny Ocean from Ocean's 11. Ocean does not care about geopolitical posturing, he only cares about flawless execution. While the world's navies remain locked in a tense, heavily monitored standoff, Ocean would assemble a highly specialized crew to pull off the largest logistical heist in human history. By hacking the automated maritime tracking systems and spoofing the GPS signals of the stranded tankers, he would seamlessly ghost an entire fleet of oil straight through the blockade under the cover of a manufactured regional blackout. Taking a much darker approach at number 7 is Kaiser Soze from The Usual Suspects. Soze would not bother negotiating or sneaking around in the dark. Instead, he would simply orchestrate a rumor of such terrifying asymmetrical retaliation against the personal families of the blockading commanders that the forces would voluntarily clear the strait just to avoid drawing his attention. For Soze, psychological fear is the ultimate naval deterrent. Number 6 brings us into the realm of pure military doctrine with Grand Admiral Thrawn from the Star Wars universe. Thrawn is widely considered an infallible tactical genius because he does not just rely on brute force. He wouldn't even need to look at a strategic map of the Persian Gulf. Instead, he would intensively study the cultural art and historical psychology of the regional leaders. By understanding their deep-seated cultural motivations and blind spots, he would predict their exact maritime formations and outmaneuver their blockades without firing a single shot. At number 5, Ender Wiggin from Ender's Game would take the exact opposite approach. Ender understands that to win a war permanently, you must completely destroy the enemy's will to ever fight again. And his plans are so brilliant, they rarely require a backup. He would rapidly identify the single, hidden logistical vulnerability, the one critical radar station or supply line holding the entire blockade together, and execute a flawless, overwhelming preemptive strike that forces an immediate and unconditional surrender. Coming in at number 4 is Lex Luthor. For Luthor, a geopolitical energy crisis is nothing more than a brilliant real estate opportunity. He would likely fund mercenaries behind the scenes to prolong the blockade just long enough to artificially inflate the value of his own alternative energy patents and massive land holdings. Once he secured an absolute, unbreakable monopoly on the new global energy grid, he would deploy his own private security forces to clear the strait, playing the global savior while secretly pocketing trillions of dollars. At number 3, Tony Stark would skip the corporate espionage entirely and solve the problem with sheer technological superiority. Stark would rapidly deploy a swarm of autonomous arc reactor-powered drones to safely escort the cargo ships through the treacherous waters. By completely removing the human military element and rendering traditional naval threats obsolete, he would bypass the entire maritime insurance crisis, privatizing global maritime security over a long weekend. Our runner-up at number 2 is Bruce Wayne. While Batman might punch criminals in dark alleys, Bruce Wayne operates on a ruthless macroeconomic level. Wayne Enterprises is a massive multinational conglomerate with a long history of burying unexplained capital expenditures in its ledgers. Bruce would use his company's vast network of black-budget shell companies to quietly buy up the sovereign debt of the aggressive nations. By weaponizing forensic accounting, he would threaten to crash their national economies and bankrupt their leaders overnight, forcing the strait open through pure financial strangulation. Finally, taking the number 1 spot is Michael Corleone from The Godfather. Michael understands that every conflict ultimately comes down to personal leverage. He would bypass the militaries entirely and call a quiet sit-down with the hidden power brokers funding the war. With cold, strict rationality and a distinct aura of calculated menace, he would exploit their private vulnerabilities, making them an offer they simply cannot refuse. In Michael's world, ending a global crisis is not personal, it's strictly business. The Hormuz crisis proves that modern warfare isn't just about firepower, it's about logistics, leverage, and economic disruption. We may not have movie villains or heroes to save us, but the tactics they use are the exact same tools being deployed by superpowers today. If you want more deep dives into the what-ifs of your favorite worlds, hit that subscribe button.